Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Residents and tourists in Coles Bay, Swanwick and Friendly Beaches are breathing a little easier this evening with the bushfire threat diminishing. It was a difficult night for many, with Coles Bay cut off. Some families were separated, others sought refuge wherever they could find a bed. This is how the past 24 hours unfolded.
A frightening night for many in the state's east coast. A major fire lighting the horizon and blocking the main road in and out of Coles Bay.
The guys are nervous over at Coles Bay. It's certainly something that's a bit of a concern for them.
But 700 hectares of vegetation is the only victim of this fire, with nearby towns of Swanwick, Coles Bay and Friendly Beaches spared destruction.
There's been no reports of damage to structures or injuries to people, just damage to critical infrastructure.
For Rachel, it was still a tough night. Her 3 children stuck in Beshino.
A few of the parents sort of started phoning each other and thinking, OK, what are we going to do here?
Thankful for the local community that helped and took in her children.
Fortunately, we had lots of amazing families put their hands up to take our children in and look after them for us.
Coles Bay's only pub was a hive of activity, up to 100 people hunkering down to wait out the conditions.
I'd say they were just keen and anxious to sort of get home or get fed or find a nice place to sleep.
Tourists, desperate to get out this morning, needed an escort to escape. But the window was short, closing after just 2 hours.
The edge of the bay said we'd be escorted through by police. That was just before 10.
Frustrations boiling over the communication on road closures and openings, and with a lack of emergency text messages when the initial fire breaking out.
I didn't get any text messages myself to my mobile. I know that a couple of friends did.
However, as the sun rose, many fears were allayed, with locals ready to welcome tourists back.
We are a tourism town. We love our visitors. Please come and do our activities, come and eat at our cafes and our restaurants, come and stay in our accommodation.
And reporter Mark Zeta joins us now from the Coles Bay Road turn-off on the Tasman Highway. Mark, has the road reopened to traffic yet?
Yes, Kim, drivers here were given the news just over an hour ago that Coles Bay Road has been reopened to traffic. Many waiting since 10 o'clock this morning to access or leave the area. Speed restrictions will be in place with the clean-up still continuing. Meanwhile, the official advice to residents is to monitor the conditions, with the fire still active in some parts but with no threat to communities. Authorities are also thankful there was no loss of life or properties, but with El Nino officially declared, it's yet to be seen what this bushfire season will bring. Kim?
Do you think it's only September? Thank you very much there, Mark. The Coles Bay emergency has prompted calls for Tasmanians to look ahead to the bushfire season. Fire Minister Felix Ellis urging Tasmanians to prepare their homes and properties.
Please take this opportunity to do your 5-minute bushfire plan. A prepared community is a safer community, and it's vitally important that you do that work.
The Greens say it's now time for a big investment into awareness.
We're concerned that local brigades and communities don't have the resources and support they need, financial and administrative, to educate their community.
The Minister says Fire Service Act reform will help fund brigades to do that work. Other parts of the state were also battered by damaging winds overnight, bringing down trees and wires, leaving hundreds without power. Wind gusts of up to 130 kilometres an hour were recorded on the west coast, while in the east and southeast, gusts range between 100 and 110 k's an hour.
It's when we start to see the destructive winds or gusts up over 100 kilometres an hour, we start to see problems, and that's exactly what we saw during yesterday and overnight last night.
In Launceston, the Tamer Naval Cadets have a clean-up job on their hands after wild winds tore the roof from their building. The damage bill is expected to be in the thousands. Tasmanian harness racing has been exploited by trainers at the expense of competitiveness, according to respected steward Ray Murray. His interim report into the industry, released today, also calls for a step up in welfare standards.
There's been a dark cloud over racing for months now.
It's absolutely critical that racing is fair and that it is humane.
The Racing Minister today releasing Ray Murray's interim report into matters of alleged team driving and animal welfare concerns. It supports the racing reform the state government has begun, but condemns serious holes in welfare regulations. The rules of racing prohibit the mistreatment of horses, however they are deficient in that they do not describe what is considered a minimum standard.
My strong expectation would be that we have guidelines that are clear and that support the best outcomes for animal welfare.
According to Murray, some trainers have been able to legally game the system under the national rankings. Racing horses in lower classes, buying older interstate horses and nominating too many runners so more races take place. Writing, whilst inevitably it will mean short-term pain involving smaller fields and reduced race programs, it is my belief that the current model is not sustainable.
None of what's been said in this release will be of any surprise to anybody in racing. They've been telling the authorities for years now that having a single trainer with every single horse in every single race is a bad thing.
It's devastating in what it says about Tasmania's failure to protect animals who are used for profit purposes.
In August, Felix Ellis told Parliament an extension had been granted for the first 2 of 7 terms of reference, with the investigation into team driving allegations to continue. The report released today only covers the last 2 of the 7, with no findings on the Office of Racing Integrity.
There are complex matters that Mr Murray is investigating.
A final report expected by year's end. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Mechanics working for Metro will down tools tomorrow, walking off the job over pay and workloads. They claim heavy vehicle mechanics are being offered up to $10 an hour less than those working in the private sector, and a third of mechanic positions with the bus operator remain vacant. These stop work meetings will be held tomorrow and Friday. Metro's CEO Katie Cooper is disappointed with the decision, saying the company's offer is fair, affordable and reasonable. Tasports has rubbish suggestions its relationship with the Australian Antarctic division is in tatters. It comes as Labor claims negotiations for a new lease have stalled due to uncertainty around the timeline for upgrades at Wharf 6, where the Noyina docks.
It's not a done deal that Hobart will always have the position that it does. We need to make sure we're continuing to build and upgrade and renew our infrastructure.
Tasport's CEO Anthony Donald says a number of agreements are being rolled into one, and the company is committed to working with the Antarctic division. A business case has been submitted to the federal government to fund the wharf upgrades. Football Tasmania's new boss has put all levels of government on notice, saying it's time the round ball game got its fair share of funding. Tony Pignata telling 7 Tasmania News improved facilities are desperately needed, also casting doubt on whether the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium is football friendly.
It's been a big year for the World Game. The Matildas' success at the Women's World Cup had people watching on in droves. The Passion a welcome sight for the new Football Tasmania CEO. Replacing Matt Bulkley, Tony Pignata's 20-year career includes stints at 3 A-Leagues clubs.
The momentum's huge, so we need to make sure that we, on the back of what's just happened, that we push forward.
That growth potentially stunted by a lack of facilities. As AFL and basketball pitch for government funding, he wants to make sure soccer isn't left on the bench, warning clubs are buckling under the weight of numbers.
Clubs are already bursting at the seams and grounds, and you have bad weather, then how do you play these games?
A home of football precinct top of the agenda.
Have a show pitch that we can actually get the community and have our grand finals there, and we're going to have to push our government to be able to build the facilities that we need.
Despite being touted as multi-purpose, he's lukewarm on the planned Macquarie Point Stadium being football friendly.
For internationals to be played have to be played on a rectangular stadium. But for us, I don't see the new AFL stadium as suiting us.
Confident Tasmania can score an A-League licence. He says bringing interstate clubs down doesn't work.
They're here for a week or two. If any money's been spent on other teams, it should be spent on helping us get our own team.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Launceston Airport is celebrating its busiest August on record. More than 99,000 passengers passed through the terminal last month, almost 5,000 more than its previous record 4 years ago. The airport believes it's the result of strong international tourism, an uptick in fly-in, fly-out workers and the number of Tasmanians who flew interstate to get behind the Matildas World Cup campaign. Thousands of car thefts across Tasmania have authorities urging us to never leave our vehicles unlocked. The increase encouraging police and Crime Stoppers to call on the community to dob in offenders.
A spike in car thefts has our law enforcement on high alert.
Unfortunately, motor vehicle burglary and motor vehicle related crime is one where we've seen a marked increase.
1,700 vehicle theft reports to Tasmania Police last year alone, prompting a call to action this Crime Stoppers week.
Over 700 of those vehicles, 41% of those vehicles were actually insecure, they were unlocked.
Authorities now urging Tasmanians to help stop opportunistic robbers in their tracks and report any information they may have, no matter how small.
The number of vehicles stolen across the state, we've seen nearly up to 5 a day, which is of concern, and that's why we want to focus on engaging with the community to get them to supply more information.
The RACT often see the end result, reporting a 50% increase in theft claims over the past 12 months. A recent survey reeling in some concerning results.
We found a staggering 18% of Tasmanians leave their vehicles unlocked when they're at home.
Now everyone is being called upon to take on some simple steps to secure their belongings and take preventative action.
Make sure that it's locked. Make sure that the windows are up and secured. Make sure that you don't leave valuables and other temptations visible within the vehicle.
You can report any information or tips to Crime Stoppers and police. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
The final touches are being put on stages and buildings across Launceston ahead of Junction Arts Festival. Beginning tonight, dozens of acts will take to the stage with a variety of displays. Cabaret group Yummy will bring its mix of dance, singing and circus tricks to the stage as part of the Up Late display. The award-winning act looking to bring a smile to audiences.
Come on down, have a drink, have a good time, see something different, see something new, and leave your worries at the door. It's time to have some fun.
I think it's all about being very excited about the return of spring and about creative vibrancy in the city.
The festival wraps on Sunday night. Students from Moona Primary School got their hands dirty this morning, ditching pencils for aprons in their usual classroom for the school kitchen, where they prepared fresh veggies they'd grown themselves.
I got chosen to be in the cooking class, and I was set up with a bunch of adults and we were making broccoli balls.
Some important lessons were also on the menu.
Just teaching kids about growing their own food, using that to prepare for salads and other things. It's just a really rewarding and wonderful experience.
16 other primary schools across the country participated in the National Kitchen Garden campaign.
History will be made in Tassie footy on Saturday, with Emily Best to become the first female to umpire in a TSL Grand Final. She'll be on the boundary in the Development League decider, which will be played between North Hobart and North Launceston. The whistleblowers say they're as excited as the players.
It's the most exciting time of the year and it's hard to get selected for it. So when we get it, it's exciting. It's just, what we all look forward to.
Despite the recent rain and last weekend's SFL Grand Final, North Hobart Oval is tipped to be in good condition. The Jack Jumpers remain undefeated in the NBL Blitz after edging past the New Zealand Breakers. New recruit Jordan Crawford showing his potential with 18 points and 6 assists. Jack McVeigh also pushed his case to be in the starting 5, top scoring with 19 points. In a grandstand finish, New Zealand fought from a 19-point half-time deficit to get within 2 points late in the game. Tasmania held on for a 92-85 win, and they play the Adelaide 36ers tomorrow night. Hobart's Kate Eckhart is now world champion after teaming up with the first family of kayaking. Jess Fox returned to London's Lee Valley Whitewater Centre, the site of her 2012 Olympic silver, joining her sister Naomi and Eckhart to win gold in the K1 women's teams event. Mum Miriam is the only coach that all three of them have ever had.
Together and going through the junior ranks, under 23s, so now to stand on the top of the podium together as K1 Women World Champions, it's just incredible.
The individual events are also qualifiers for next year's Paris Olympics.
Good evening. Hobart 13 today, 10 degrees cooler than yesterday. Launceston 14, Devonport 13, Burnie a high of just 15, and that was as warm as it got, 15. Also at Friendly Beaches, St Helens and the Bass Strait Islands, along with Smithton. Low Head and Strawn 13 today, Lyawini a high of 5. Now here's the cloud today following the cold front, which dumped 78 millimetres of rain on Strathgordon and had wind gusts of up to 130 kilometres an hour over the west and southwest overnight and this morning. Now that cloud linked to the front pushes back through Victoria to South Australia. Scattered low clouders over the north of the continent. Tomorrow a high over the Bight directs a southwesterly airstream over Tasmania, so that'll be cool. A trough extends from Western Australia to Queensland. So those southwesterlies tomorrow will keep things cool, as I said, as they range up to 25 knots over southern waters, a 5-metre swell in the west. We have a strong wind warning for waters between Wineglass Bay and Low Rocky Point and also east of Flinders Island. Tomorrow in Hobart, 13, a shower or two. Cygnet, 12, 13 for New Norfolk, or with a light shower. Launceston, 16 tomorrow and partly cloudy. Devonport, 15, 13 the top for Campbelltown. Burnie expecting a high of 14 and partly cloudy. Showers easing from Strawn, 12, a top of 14 and cloudy for Smithton. St Helens tomorrow, 15 and partly cloudy. Swansea, 14, cool for Fingal, 13 the maximum. On Friday, a possible shower over Strawn and the west, fine and partly cloudy for everyone else. Partly cloudy, fine and a tad warmer on Saturday, and on Sunday plenty of sunshine with temperatures sneaking back into the 20s. 25 in Perth tomorrow and partly cloudy. Some cloud over Adelaide as well, a shower and 15 degrees in Melbourne, sunny in Sydney and 23, and 10 degrees warmer than that for Brisbane and Darwin. Bit of cloud over Hobart, it's 8 at the moment, 11 degrees in Launceston, clear and partly cloudy in Devonport and 9 degrees. Now Kim, during that last break you had plenty to say about my matching hair and jacket. Let the viewers know what you were saying, please.
I think you look very smart, Murph. Very smart indeed. That's what I was saying. And that is all we have time for tonight. We'll have updates throughout the evening. For now, on behalf of the team, it is good night.